Getting back to the euro right now, our next guest is bearish, excuse me, and says the euro-dollar cross will eventually reach parity. He is the global head of foreign exchange strategy at BNP Paribas, Hans-Guenter Redeker, joining us now live from London. Hans, thanks so much for joining us. So when did you make this parity call and why? Why are you convinced that the euro is going to go down to $1?
Well, we started the year quite bearish on the euro simply because we were quite negative on the European outlook from the economic front. But the parity call as such was insisted or was prepared 3.5 weeks ago at a time when we were trading around 135. The reason why we have this euro forecast lowered had been down to the outlook on the European economy on the back of the European problematics, the sovereign debt problematic. It has an impact on the banking sector, it has an impact on credit, it has an impact on the growth outlook, and that actually means that the European Central Bank needs to continue to pump liquidity into the euro environment, and that is going to be a euro negative factor.
So Hans, I mean, are you talking about timing in your call as well? When do you think euro will reach parity?
Well, we say that parity is going to be reached in the first quarter next year. However, I have as well to say that there is a risk to this forecast, and the risk is that we actually reach that level quicker, that we could enter a period of high volatility where you would have a move into safety. Our call of parity in the first quarter was actually based on the assumption of a euro decline under the orderly market conditions.
Hans,
what we are saying is that the euro needs to be weak to make sure that the euro can survive in its current form and shape.
So Hans, that's interesting that you think the risk to your call is timing and that it could happen earlier versus rather than later of when you put that parity call out there. Jim O'Neill from Goldman Sachs, we heard from him earlier saying, you know what, honestly, there's too many euro bears out there. At some point, you do have a shift in momentum. You have a contrarian call. He actually is calling for the euro to bottom here at 121. What would you say to that?
Well, first of all, I would actually reply to this that positioning is, of course, an issue sometimes. But when you try to get an idea about positioning in euro and you use IMM position data, I guess you will be trapped. And then we have actually to look at why the euro had been declining. Was it really like a speculative wave? Had it really been massive hedge fund selling, as many European politicians like to tell us? I doubt that. I guess what is behind here is that central banks, that those institutions which in the past were reallocating currency reserves globally away from the US dollar into the euro, that these substantial pillar of euro buying is no longer taking place.
Okay.
And on top of that, you have those people in the core of Europe which have surpluses, which have huge asset holdings. They're moving out of the euro.
Hans, we have to leave it there. We thank you very much. That is Hans-Guenter Redeker joining us there live from London from BNP Paribas.